Okay, part 2 of the Spyderco catalog. We left off talking about the Delica and Enduras in foliage green. You heard my rant on that, how I wish it was plain edge, not the combo edge. Take it or leave it. Now we get into their new G10, newer G10 handles. Now, and I was commenting on the shade of green, and again, it's very difficult from a catalog to tell. I suspect these are very cool knives with a very nice shade of green on it. It's hard to tell from the catalog. In fact, from the catalog, at least the one I have, if I look at it right through here, it kind of looks like that leaf green. Kind of that goofy shamrock leprechaun green. And I don't like leprechaun green in my knives, dudes. Don't like it. So, I wouldn't mind ordering one if everything else is squared away, but I think there's other issues with this, and this is why you don't see a check mark or an X by this, because I'm still trying to decide on the G10 Enduras and Delicas. One of the issues that I am not digging is this right here, and that's the weight. I can't focus with my camera, but it's 4.5 ounces for the Endura 4, and for the Delica 4 it's 3.25, so 3¼ ounces. So these G10s gain a lot of weight. Not a lot, but a substantial weight over the FRN handles. Now hopefully Spyderco did indeed drill out those liners. They sure do for the Endura 4. They're skeletonized to save weight. And generally in my experience, Spyderco's good about doing that. But weight's a big issue with me. It always will be. I don't like a heavy knife unless it gives me something in return. And so when I see something like this, I go, okay, so here's a knife that's $100+, maybe a little bit less, depending on where you go. These are the same blades. Utility speaking, and I'm talking about utility, not collectability, and those are two different things. I realize that. And I know there's a combo edge. Let's just, essentially it's the same knife. I mean, same length blade, same steel. The only difference being the handle. It's G10, which I love as long as it's checkered properly. However, it gains weight, it's more expensive, and it gives me no more utility over the FRN version of this knife. You see how I'm thinking on that? So, to me, that's not a good buy. Now, the asterisk next to that observation would be, is if this is something I'd want to add to my collection, that the enjoyment factor that I would get owning this knife, which I suspect would be high. I'm going to tell you right now, I think when I had this knife in my hand, I would dig it. It's probably stronger than the FRN version 2, because it's going to have stainless steel liners with that G10. So, and I know for a lot of y'all, the 4.5 ounces, you just don't care. It's not important. But that's just my thinking on it. So, it's kind of like saying you have a car in the two cars, you have a car in your driveway, and this one has a snazzier paint job, but the miles per gallon and the power and all the features are pretty much the same. And yet the new car you're looking at costs almost twice as much. So that's kind of the same principle. Doesn't mean I wouldn't want to get it though. I'd really like to check it out in person actually before I bought it. That's the sucky part about ordering off the internet, is you don't see it first. You gotta go. And that's why a good catalog is so helpful. Because and Spyderco's done an outstanding job in their brochure here, because they do give you all the information. There's nothing left to ask about, and that's good. I love that. Now we get to the stainless steel handled versions of the Endurica and the Delica, and this is a good. And you see I have a little X up there. That's right. That means I'll never get this knife. Never will review it either. I do not like stainless steel handled knives. I just don't. I know they're very thin. That is a huge advantage of them, but they're also very heavy. And again, with a weight issue, that Endura in a stainless steel handle, this knife right there, dudes, 5.6 ounces. Okay, so that's well over 2 ounces added to the regular Endura FRN handle. I just don't see how that gives me an advantage. Now they talk about here in the write-up on this one how it's a heavier weight alternate to the lightweight Delica. And there's some people like the heavy knife in their pocket. That may be, and I do not doubt that it's going to be a durable knife. But you know what? I also have years and years of experience with my Enduras and they've been very durable. I've never found them wanting in the strength department. At least for the tasks that I gave them, they've done pretty darn good. So it's a hard sell for me to tell me that this is more durable for my tasks than this knife. You know. Now, if you know you're going to be stabbing something hard with it, and you know you'd be putting some torsional stress on the pivot point, maybe the stainless would be the way to go. But that X is going to remain there. I will never get one of these knives. It's just too heavy. By the way, I'm also speaking from experience. I have ordered Spydercos of various types in stainless steel, and I have carried them, so I know what they're like, and I just didn't like the chunkiness, the weight. They are very hefty. Not a fan of stainless steel handles. Then we come to the ZDP 189s. These are we're still Endura and Delicas, and it's cool that Spyderco, and they say it right here, they use it as their vehicle to test different steels, i.e. to give you, the user, an option to buy a knife that has these new steels, in this case a ZDP 189 steel, and you can get into it for less than $100, a lot less in the case of the Endura 4 or Delica 4. I think that's awesome. Moreover, they gave it a green handle. Now, is it leprechaun green? Yeah, it kind of looks it to me. That's not good. And again, I could be wrong, but I think they're probably just offering the combo edge in this. So there we go again with the combo edge. Haven't marked it with an X, still deciding. But you know what? I have the Enduras I got are awesome. You know, the VG10 steel I'm a big fan of. You know, is it worth the extra cost for me to go out and buy a ZDP 189 versus this? No, not for me. So I still like the idea that they're doing that though. Then when they got their training knives, no, I'm never ever going to get these. They're as much as a regular knife. I train with rubber knives too. Granted, it's not the same shape and weight as the Enduras, but goodness gracious, you're going to get a training knife for every model of knife you have? No. Police model. Okay, I'm going to, first off again, here we go with the stainless steel versions again. Enough said about that. Then we go with the karambit or hook style knives. I don't like those. I think they're rippers and not cutters. If you swing at someone with this knife, let's say you're in a defensive encounter and you swing at them, what's going to do the cutting? This right here. The tip is just like the talon of a bird. The talon of a bird comes down, and when he grabs a rabbit, what digs in? The tip. Okay, this is a design from nature, and it's no different. So this is not going to do much. This portion here, what's going to do all the damage, and you're going to be ripping, not so much cutting, is that tip. So I think it's a very specialized design that's pretty much useless for EDC rolls, and I like multi-purpose capabilities in my knives. So I'm not a fan of the karambit style blades. Your mileage may vary. I respect it. Now, the cool thing about it, of course you see an X next to these, the police model. I will never buy a stainless steel Spyderco police model. Just won't do it, especially in a Spidey edge. There's no way I'd do that. 5.6 ounces. It's stout. But I was very delighted to see that Spyderco has a 2000-year mid-year product supplement, and in that is a knife I totally will get, and it is a Police 3 in G10, and it looks very promising. I'm excited about this blade, and I looked around today to see if anybody, well, I didn't go everywhere, but my favorite store doesn't have it. yourcornerstore.com. So I'm waiting for them. VG10 steel. Blade is 4 3/8 inches long, so we got good reach for a defensive encounter. G10, so it's going to be finely checkered G10. Very nice handle. Not too heavy. It's not a lightweight, but 4.9 ounces. But again, I'm willing to go over that 4 ounces if it gives me something, and in this knife it does. It gives me almost 5 inches of reach in a defensive encounter. Very nice. 4-way clip, so we're not stuck with a pivot mounted clip. You can put it on all 4 corners. Very characteristic of Spyderco. So the Spyderco Police 3, you will see a review on that from me. Plan on it. It's an awesome knife. Okay, that's into part 2. We got more to talk about. Stay tuned.